Face reality, people. Movies are dead. Games are dead. Narrative? Dead.
Media is nothing but neural trigger response and viral conditioning.
Wait, what are you two talking about?
Are you scared?
No.
It's okay to be scared.
I'm not.
She won't bite.
How do you know?
She's not that kind of snake.
Beautiful. I think we got it.
Wait, can we just
Was
get
there a
into
difference
it?
between any of those?
Please,
No, what the fuck?
please, it's getting more real.
Going again? Good. Reset.
Oh, she's a fucking.
Back to one. Back to one.
She's trying to capture it, but she doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Quickly, guys. Clearing. Set. And action.
Oh, now he fucking produced this. Yeah, okay. Not fucking bad at all, man. Holy shit. They actually upped the ante with the ending there. To where she's trying to, like, the stereotypical recapture something that actually happened type of thing, and it ends up looking like cheap porno. Like, that scene right there looked like cheap porno, right? Am I tripping? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, holy shit, man. Well done, guys. Well fucking done. Because they're not going to be able to capture the events of the thing, right? And they stayed away from doing the shame thing, which is, here's this person's, like, you can portray someone as a villain, and it's movie, it's make believe, right? They're actors. They're not actually there. They're not the actual people. So you can portray people as, here's a villain. Like if you had like a movie about like Hitler or something, like you can make Hitler look like the worst asshole on the planet, or you can make him sympathetic. You can do anything you want with these guys because they're make believe. It's not the actual person. And they did in my opinion, a good job of staying away from that and still leaving it in this weird area. And still, they question the topic at hand, which is like the base of the news story itself, right? And but they still give you a movie too at the same time. So it's like fuck, that is fucking well made, man. Holy shit, that's well made.
Best of both worlds.
Super well made.
Now good luck finding another one.
Well, it's like, well, we know we're dealing like those are super artists, right? Julianne Moore, now Natalie Portman, and the rest of the I don't know the writers and directors. I know of those guys, and I know they're fucking super talented, and I know they pick roles on purpose, right? They're not so lazy about picking roles, if that makes sense, right? They're not well, I mean, you know, there's people who just like
They're not Gerard Butlers. They're not
Well, I don't want to say Gerard Butler because there's people who end up in like super Oscar award-winning nominated fucking movies.
Tom Hardy.
And then also end up in some stupid fucking dumb action movie at the same time.
Sounds like Tom Hardy.
But well, I mean, they've both, like Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore have done movies like that. They're like more comedy leaning or something like that, which is fine. But it's like on purpose instead of like, hey, can you pay me? It's more like they're actually experimenting with playing different roles instead of just a serious thing.
Bro. Yo, did you ever watch that movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Scarlett Johansson and Julianne Moore?
Was it Don John?
Yeah, Don John, yeah.
Actually a really good movie. Actually a pretty good fucking movie.
I knew you would like that movie. I like that movie too.
I think I need to rewatch that one.
He made that movie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Well, kudos to him from what I remember. I need to rewatch it, but what I remember, excellent fucking movie.
Julianne Moore stole the fucking movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many fucking dynamics added here. I'm trying to like remember all of them, like, in the way they clash with each other. There's the element of, right, the actual news story topic of the older teacher sleeping with a fucking seventh grader or whatever the fuck. There's that topic, and they explore it in a way where, I mean, like I guess they have their own theory about it, which happens to collide kind of with my theory about it, or one of my theories about it.
What do you mean?
Where the idea of like stunted growth, and you end up, quote unquote, stunted growth, and you end up harboring the same feelings of like a child, thus you maybe connect with a child, and thus that's maybe why something like pedophilia might happen. Not saying that, now for me, I'm not saying that's the fucking whole story of how these things happen. Because
It's a part of it.
I think that could be something, a theory worth looking at. But this movie also explores the other idea where it's like someone's just taking advantage of someone. They explore that idea too.
I think that that is the result. I don't think that's the cause, if that makes sense.
Wait, what do you mean? The result?
Like, I truly believe pedophilia is like an illness, like no different than cancer. Like, actually, no different than like the influenza, whatever. And as a result of that illness, yeah, you like, whenever you contract it or whatever, however you want to put it, then yeah, that's when the stunted development takes place. I don't think that the stunted development is what causes it, if that makes sense.
Kind of get what you're saying, but it also wouldn't make sense to me. Like, they're just, I don't understand. Like, they just, one day there's like, you know what?
Yeah,
I want to be with kids.
No, really. Yeah. Like, what? It's like Pandora's box, and no, I don't think it comes out of nowhere, but I think it's
12-year-old
essentially like yeah, it has to start somewhere, but the flip of the switch, it's as quick as that. Like, oh yeah, maybe.
What socially conditioned them to do that instead of something else?
I don't know.
That's the thing I'm talking. Like, if it's conditioned, then there has to be some sort of conditioner. So I'm like, okay, what is that thing? If it's not conditioning, and it's just like your brain molecules are fucked up, and you happen to be predisposed to some sort of taboo social thing, it's like, how does that happen? Like,
I think it's like a degradation.
Well, there's also the other option of
Hold on,
it's
Dubster.
just a choice.
Hold on,
It's
Dubster.
just a choice. It's just a
Hold on,
choice.
Dubster.
I think it's a degradation of,
You
for
left
lack
out
of a better
one of the
term,
options.
you're
I'm
like
trying to, two people talking at once, Dubster. Do you get that or no? Okay.
Here.
does for the
Don't give a fuck.
professional on pedophilia.
Oh, you
Fuck
don't
that bitch.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Fuck,
Yeah.
I'm 12 years
Fuck
old.
that
I don't
bitch.
give a
give
shit.
fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you are. You are 12.
Yeah, there's the 12-year-old talking again.
It's a degradation of your literal, like, your neurons, like your the like, it's like dementia type of shit. Like,
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, what causes it, right? But I'm saying, like, what do I think I don't know what causes it. I'm saying, what do I think it is? It's like, yeah, I think it's a complete dissolution of, oh yeah, if this were me, or if this were a kid, then it would be truly harmful, and I would have to know, like, it would be impossible for me to inflict it. Like, if I were inflicting it on myself and I truly understood the pain I was inflicting on myself, like, I wouldn't do it. I think that's totally absent. So what causes that?
So lack
don't
of
know.
empathy.
Yeah, definitely.
But that takes shape in many different ways, which comes back to social conditioning. Because a lack of empathy is in the surgery room, right? The guy who's like not nervous that he's operating on a heart, right?
I think it's a similar, like, what's the difference between a pedophile and a serial rapist, right? Who's never touched a kid in their life. Like, I see similarities in that. You know, I just think one.
Yeah, but the lack of empathy thing is in many different areas.
It is. Yeah.
So that can't be the common denominator. It's something that's happening, but that can't be the.
If we're tracing
answer.
it like it's like a life tree, And if we're going back to like the fucking Homo erectus or whatever, all the way down to Neanderthals, I think the farthest possible commonality would be that the lack of empathy. Now, where it goes from there, it's obviously going to differ, right? We're not going to, like, Hitler might have not been a pedophile or whatever, but you know, he was Hitler. So it's like they have that in common. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying, but here's the thing: like that thing would be, in my opinion, much more common than most might realize because we've did like. No offense to you, but I've heard you do this like when you're in like traffic or something. Like "fuck you, asshole!" Like where it's not like serious, right? You're just, you know, it's like "fuck you, bro. You fucking cut me off" or something like that. But in that moment, you're kind of being like apathetic to that other person who maybe have an emergency or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So in a way, we all kind of practice that anyway. But this would be to, I guess, a deeper extent, and what would make it, in my opinion, actually deeper to the person that's doing these things is the social taboo of it. That would make it more of like, okay, maybe this needs to be hidden. Like the letter that Natalie Portman was reading, where she's like, okay, the world won't understand us. Like we need to keep this hidden, type of thing. It's like,
well, but
like,
that's acting tracks, right? That's covering their tracks. So that's not.
Well, it's a social because of the social taboo. Like if it was okay socially, then they wouldn't hide it, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like
I don't think they would hide it if it was socially acceptable.
Like just think about it. If it's just socially, then that means it's just a matter of like, oh, I don't want to be shamed publicly. But what if it's like a true like, oh my god, a baby, like an adult fucking an infant or whatever. Like, what if there was like it was beyond. Now that's like the extreme, right? And it does happen. But what if that's the same thing? Like it's a true understanding of like, oh my god, this is like a horrible thing to do for any logical person. But this person, it's within reason. They're able to justify it.
Or not even justify it.
Yeah, exactly. Or just it's absent in their consideration. Like, oh my god, this isn't bad. Why would this be bad? That wouldn't even, so the social thing.
There is no such thing as bad. Thus, I can do whatever the fuck I want, type of thing. Which is definitely a philosophy of many people.
I don't think that's. I don't know. Is it? There's got to be some like. There's got to be some degree in their life like, oh, something will be bad. Like, oh yeah, I feel cold. Like I don't like the cold. It's bad when it's cold. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be something in there.
Well, I think what I guess psychologists would call like narcissistic, like psychopathy, would be something where it's like it's only bad if it harms me, and fuck anyone else.
But that's
which is fine because there's no like nothing happens. Like you just live, you die. That's it. There's nothing else to the world.
Right.
Thus, I can just do this, and it's no big deal.
That's definitely. I think that's a part of it. 100%.
Yeah, for me that'd be terrible.
But that's horrible. But I also think that that's like a sign. Like I don't think that it exists like a single person in the world that, in what you just explained, that psychopathic narcissist, whatever.
Like a narcissistic. Yeah, good.
If they're able to identify something is bad for them, they're able to identify something is bad to someone else. Whether they choose to see that or not, or whether their like mental barriers permit them to do that, like to go to those lengths to understand, that's a whole separate question. Right?
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's like an idea called like the veil of ignorance, which isn't, to me, not the greatest moral philosophy, but it is something in regards to like okay, here's why you don't steal. You don't steal because what if someone steals from you? You won't like that very much. Thus, you need to keep like there's like a veil in regards to like fuck context. Stealing is bad because if it happened to you, it's bad. I don't know if I
Yeah.
explained that correctly or not, but
No, yeah, it's because it's essential. And that's why I bring it back to the family tree thing, like or the evolution thing, right? Because they're shortcutting. They're going from Homo erectus all the way to where we are, Homo sapien or whatever. So it's like they're some in some other aspect, maybe Hitler would go a different route where he would cut some corners as well, but maybe he went farther in certain areas and he just didn't end up there, and that doesn't mean he is any less empathetic, like where he's not able to put himself in that other person's shoes, or even
well, yeah.
more empathetic, but they're definitely taking that shortcut where they're able to not think about it and pretend it's not there. But will it be there at some point in their life? Will they have an awakening where they're like, oh my God, this is bad? Yeah, I think that will happen. But that doesn't mean they're going to change. I'm of the belief that there's no recovery from this particular type of illness. But
I can't agree with you on that, but I
I
get
know.
what you're saying, but I don't agree with that because of
I know.
just from personal experience of maybe not to the extent of pedophilia, but something where it's like I did something wrong or fucked up by my own standards and then making a change later on, like, and feeling bad about it. I think regular people go through that all the fucking time.
In a vacuum, if we label this as a problem, right? Like you just said, like, oh, I did something wrong. In a vacuum, if we can equate like this with all problems, like, oh, this is just a problem, then yeah, it would be something recoverable. But I'm genuine, like, this is no ordinary monster that we're dealing with, like this type of disease.
I think it is, but the thing is, once again, the social taboo and stigma of it, which makes it seem even much more worse to the perpetrator of it, to where they behave a certain way in regards to it.
That definitely adds
like
to it.
They can't let anyone fucking know. They can't. Oh, they can't stand in front of a judge or a preacher or wherever the fuck some person you have to imagine how difficult that would be for them to stand in front of them and say, like, I did this and this is what I've done, and this, like, that's different than, I stole $20 from the fucking candy store, right? That's a different confession, and it's like,
I definitely agree.
And that's the social pressures on top of them in regards to it.
It adds to it, but does that mean it's gonna, like, I don't think that's the social. I don't think that the social factor is what is it's like, yeah, it makes it worse, right? But I don't think that's the limiting factor to like, oh, if we took out that social factor, like, I don't think that would necessarily cure it. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, no, that doesn't cure anything, but the fact, like, if you think about, at least in my opinion, how people's minds work in regards to confronting themselves about their own misdeeds, right? Certain things are easier to face than others. Like, even if, like, forget about confessing to the judge or the preacher or whatever the fuck. Imagine confessing to yourself. It's like you have to actually look at that, and based on with a person with their mind that's been conditioned by the world, and the world says this is the worst thing you can possibly do, and there is no forgiveness for it, and you are fucked. Imagine them trying to confront themselves with that. Like, they have to, like, almost like survival instinct, have to look away from that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
So, like, yeah, I would beg them with all my life, like, hey, man, you can come talk to Jordan. I'll talk to you all day and night, man. No big deal. Come talk to me. I'll fucking scorch you when I gotta scorch you. But at the same time, I'm not gonna, like, you should feel safe talking to me. Like, if I'd be curious to see what would happen if the world worked in a way to where it's like you feel safe to be able to say your misgivings or your faults or your flaws or what you perceive as flaws or what you perceive as correct. Maybe I guarantee there's people out there like, no, there's nothing wrong with this. I guarantee there's people like that. Like,
There
imagine,
are.
imagine if they were allowed to openly say that without getting fucking pitchforked. You know,
Well,
like what we would actually learn from people who are not like that.
in my opinion, it would make. I actually think it would make it worse. But
And good, it could.
I don't know. And
But
the
way we've been, I mean,
It's not making it any better the way it is.
I know, like the way it is, like
It's not helping that.
it couldn't get worse than the way it is. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can't be worse.
All right. Let me just wrap this up so I can stop recording.
Are you playing the fucking Red Wedding or not, bro?
Yeah, I'll play it.
I can't.
All right. So, as a film, very thought provoking. We just had a long conversation about this topic, but it does. This movie hits on things other, not just the topic itself, but also like many things. Like I think human interaction, maybe the way movies are made in regards to like true stories versus the dramatized version of it. Right? We kind of got like double layered with it. It's not just Natalie Portman as an actor in a movie trying to portray this role and portray this character and follow her around and do all that shit, but she also ends up playing a role within the movie itself, which is another dramatization of the story, which that version even came off even more fake, right? It's like a watered down version of a watered down version.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And they definitely, this movie's 100% thought provoking, super interesting, and I think it's a decent amount of themes in regards to the topic and also human perception, which is, for me, that's where movies reach outside of the screen and try to grab the audience and say, hey, look at this. Take a look at this. This is not, just, some girl in a love story type of thing. We're trying to tell you about something about the world, not just socially, but metaphysically, philosophically.
Yeah.
Like all levels are trying to hit. And that's what made this movie fucking impressive to me. Not the greatest thing ever.
Is this movie higher than A2?
Higher than an 8.2?
Yeah.
Not for me. Because
Is it
I've seen these things questioned in my opinion, a much better way. Like, go watch the fucking Matrix. If you want to talk about questioning your own ideas of the world, socially, philosophically, metaphysically, your imagination, your spiritual sense of things, your non-spiritual sense of things, all of it, the Matrix like hits those fucking tones like nothing. But the Matrix is so overarching that it's like this one zooms into like kind of like a particular world, a particular topic. The Matrix like covers all of it.
It's more broad.
Which is why people get lost, I think, watching the Matrix.
No, definitely. That's definitely what happened. Oh, blue pill, red pill. You don't even know what that means.
Yeah. It gets so fucking movies like that. That's what happens, man. That's what happens with The Dark Knight. That's what happens with like a whole bunch of different movies that are like overarching themes to where it's such a big idea that people get lost in, the toenail of the giant instead of the giant itself.
Yep.
If that makes sense. This thing purposely zooms in on the toenail and says like, okay, we're saying something bigger, but we're also zooming into a particular story and trying to like lock you down here in this story, which is beautiful. It's a microcosm type of thing. And I'm like, fuck, that's fucking awesome. Yes, I'm very happy I saw this movie. Not just shut up. Not just like me wanting to see good movies, but me like it made me think about it as I'm watching it. I'm thinking about it. I'm questioning the characters' motives. I'm questioning the topic above the fucking story and the characters and the actors and all that shit. Like, okay, what's going on here? Like that type of feeling while watching a movie is chef's kiss fucking beautiful. And it's so sad we don't get enough things like that. So my final grade for now, maybe I watch this movie again. It seems good enough. Like I might watch this movie again at some point to see like more intricacies. But as of now, I'm giving it a solid 8.1. And the ending fucking nailed it for me. When Natalie Portman does 3 takes of the fucking of the pet store closet scene or whatever, right? Where she's supposed to be seducing the kid with the snake, right? The fucking Adam and Eve style thing, right?
Yeah.
She does she does 3 different takes of it, but they all look exactly the same. And then Natalie Portman's like, "Can we do that again? That didn't seem so real." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh my god, thank you, Lord, an ending that works. Good God, this is like the grade could go up if I watch this movie again and see like different things I didn't see beforehand, or different things I didn't see while watching it this time.
Yeah,
Like, the grade goes up. That's the beauty of great movies.
Again. I kind of miss.
Fair enough. Fuck, 8.1 for me. Do you guys got anything?
I said 8.2.
8.2. Okay, not bad.
I can't put a number on. I don't know how to rate shit.
That's
but-
where that's how I felt. Like it's like thinking it's like a little better than Barbie.
I think the maturity
I think
that
so.
they handled the topic, though, I love it, and I appreciate that.
Oh, they did levels with that shit, man. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow, that's
You
impressive.
know what
They
I
didn't
hated?
like make it look cheap at all.
Yeah.
You know what I hated? I hated the runtime. It could have gone longer. That's what I hated.
I think the runtime was good. I think the runtime was good. Other than seeing Natalie Portman, I mean, I can go a couple more hours of that.
Yeah,
But all right,
Agreed.
if you want to do a number grade, Josh, how about? Do you recommend other people see this movie?
Yes. Period.
Okay,
Period.
that's to me as
I
good
know-
as grading something.
I'm no authority on this topic, but yes, I think this is good.
you should watch it a couple times.
Agreed.
I might have to watch it a couple times to be honest. So, yeah,
And
100%
let me
recommend.
point out also.
Just
Let
like
me
the
point-
way you gotta watch it twice.
Yeah.
Let me point out also that this is a very important topic as well, because when people say pedophile, what do you? I'm not saying you guys, but it's like an old guy with beard, with like a big white beard, like creepy, like glasses, and like hanging around parking lots or whatever, like at schools.
Oh yeah.
People forget that females can be predators too.
Oh yeah.
So this is like important, bro. Seriously.
Well, it definitely questions social stigmas on many levels, which is, to me, the importance of this film, as far as what they were trying, what it seemed like they were trying to do, on like every level. They were putting a critical eye on all of it. And I'm like, fuck, that's fucking impressive to make it make sense to a viewer.
Yeah.
Of course, not a mishmash of like, what are you trying to say? What is going on here? That looked kind of awkward. Like, instead of that, it's like it's actually. The ideas are actually hitting me in the face. Like they reached outside of the movie and said, "Hey, look at this. Not just this, but also look at this." Okay, put those two ideas together. Like, okay, what do you think about this? Like they're doing that, and like that is to me, god tier storytelling. And that'll always be the best version of storytelling. Is when they reach outside and try to talk to the audience, kind of directly. So
Yeah.
kudos, man. Kudos, man. All right. There it is. There's our review.